Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Align podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you all are doing well. Well, today's conversation is filled with powerful takeaways and real life tools that I promise you'll want to stick around for. Motherhood is undeniably beautiful, but in the process of loving everyone else so deeply, it's quite easy to forget to show that some love inward. A mom often becomes the schedule keeper, the meal planner, the emergency contact, constantly giving. But in all of that, what happens to her connection with herself? And today's episode is all about that sacred space, the one between being a mom and still being you. And I couldn't think of a better person to join us than Meg, a certified life and wellness coach, a mom of three herself, and who is on a mission to help moms not just survive, but thrive with calm, confidence, and clarity. We'll talk about emotional overwhelm, mom guilt, nervous system support, and most importantly, how to find those tiny windows in your day to check in with your own soul. So, if that's something you've been needing to hear, stay tuned. This episode is for you. Meg, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am looking very forward to sharing this conversation.
Absolutely. I know this conversation is going to leave a mark on so many listeners who are searching for themselves in the midst of motherhood. And it's truly a privilege to have you on my show.
Thank you.
So, Meg, motherhood is a profound transformation. If I may ask you, what was the biggest identity shift that you experienced personally?
I feel like the biggest identity shift is when you first hold that little baby in your arms and they let you leave the hospital on your own and you say, "Oh, now it's just me in charge of this living and breathing wonderful being." So I feel like that is the absolute biggest shift
Mhm.
for sure is having that baby in your arms and the reality of how much responsibility lies ahead of you.
Absolutely. And also, it's so validating to hear that holding on to your identity isn't about resisting motherhood, it's about honoring all the layers that make you you. And I think so many moms will breathe a little easier hearing that it's okay to want more than just the mom label. Uh, why do you think so many moms feel like they have lost themselves after having kids? And what are some of the signs they one should watch for to know they are emotionally disconnected from themselves? I know it's quite controversial, but I would love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. So everyone's journey in motherhood is so unique and so different. And before I say anything, I just want to empower each of the listeners that um, you're doing the best you can, and you're doing so much better than you think you can, or than you think you are. Um, as a mom, right, we get so busy. We get so many schedules. We have so many responsibilities and people leaning into us and leaning on us and depending on us that it is so easy to forget that there needs to be time and space for
Mm-hmm.
you, the person, and you, the mom, right? There, the person is is the one behind the scenes that is making all of the, as you mentioned, the driving and the scheduling. That she's the one making all of that happen. So it is so easy. It is so quick, and it's not a sudden experience. I feel like it's just a gradual, as we take on more, we kind of decrease the awareness of the person that we are underneath, too. You mentioned some of the signs. It's really just that questioning and that wondering and noticing you're having conversations with people, but often they're focused on the kids, right? There, it's not on you, the person. And to me, that's kind of the first flag I'll say that can be raised and say, ooh, I'm spending a lot of a time and attention externally, but not very much time internally.
Well, that's so powerful and true. I would say sometimes mothers normalize that exhaustion and disconnect so much that they don't even realize how far they have gone. And what you shared really makes sense about how easy is it to just operate in autopilot mode. There is so much guilt tied to doing things for ourselves as moms. Uh, how can we reframe self care so it doesn't sound selfish?
Funny you ask. I was just having a conversation with a client right before this, and we were talking about our ability to be resilient. And what I mean by that is, as we're going through the motions of handling other people's emotions and schedules, how do we respond to it? And you are 100% correct. Many people think self care and they think guilt. I don't have time for that. That's not really necessary right now. I have all these other things to do. But I would like to challenge that and just say, you, the person, you are 100% worthy, valuable, and you matter, no matter the situation. And when you can take a few minutes to breathe, to stretch, to journal, to move, whatever that form of self care is for you that feels good and nourishing to your soul, that not only helps you, the person, but it just radiates and it spills out to everything and every person that you touch. So, if you want to help these other people and these other situations, starting at the ground level is absolutely the first necessary step forward.
Can I say that it's all about transition from me first to me too for moms? Yeah. And I think this will really land with so many mothers who are constantly putting themselves last, uh, saying that or having this shift from me first to me too. Uh, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a game changer for a lot of mothers who are listening right now. Uh, what are some simple, doable things mom can incorporate daily, even if it's for like 10 minutes, that really helps them, reconnect to themselves? Something that's really doable.
It sounds so simple. My very favorite thing to do is place my hands at my heart, close my eyes, and just scan my body, breathing, observing what is it like to be me right now. Noticing if there's tension in your body, if there's any parts that need a little bit of stretch or movement. But that awareness, that focus just validates you, the person, and that you matter so much. And that doesn't even take 10 minutes. It can be 3 or 4 minutes. It can be when you have driven somewhere and before you get out of the car, and just honoring that person, that wonderful person that you are, and letting her know that you matter so much. That is my very, very favorite thing, very simple thing to do. Another one that I also love to do is just spend some time writing down what it's like to be me today. What are those stresses? What are those things I'm excited about? What am I afraid of? What is bringing me hope? And just noticing what's going on all inside of us, because it's such a spider web, but giving some space to it can be so helpful.
I think it's all about bringing that awareness, as you called out, writing it down. Uh, what exactly are the triggers? How the day is going by? So that really helps, and I love the ideas that you said. They are so real, so simple, yet so simple. And I think hearing that it doesn't need to be perfect. Giving permission to actually try. Thanks for sharing those simple tips. Now, many moms carry the emotional load solo. In your opinion, how can they find balance and inner ground when supporting at home in limited or inconsistent way?
So we all, right, we're all individual people, and yes, some of us do have a partner in in this world and others don't, and that's okay, right? But the very most important thing is that relationship you have with yourself first, and that being the priority first. And just like I said a minute ago, right? Journaling, writing down what is going on with you, because so much of the time in our interactions with anybody in any relationship, it's how are you? And the response is, I'm fine,
I'm
thanks.
fine. Yeah.
Right? But if we actually say, how are you? Answer it and honor it, then we're already showing ourselves that care and the compassion for the person that we are, being heard, even if it's just by ourselves. My gosh, that's the most empowering thing, is when we honor how we are feeling about something.
Yeah, I think what you said, it definitely makes sense. And many a times we don't talk enough about what it feels like to be emotionally, overloaded and still expected to hold it all together. Uh, any other tips that you have?
Yeah, I mean, you say hold it all together, right? And I just want to give everyone permission to be a human. Sometimes it's really hard and you don't have to hold it together. You are allowed to go to a space where you feel safe and cry, or just be sad, or whatever it is, because that's truly who you are, right? And this idea of holding it all together, sometimes we want to have an appearance in front of a certain child or family member, and that's okay, right? But also giving yourself the space to be a human in that is incredibly valuable. And also what I want to say is honoring who you are in the way of energy. So if you've already had a busy day of work, and then you come home and you have a busy day with family, and then you still have to hold it all together to do whatever is next in your day, maybe it's go back for a side job or a different work, right? How are you giving yourself some space, some pockets of time to come down just a little bit? Because you're operating so much at that high functioning level, sometimes our brains, our bodies, our minds, our emotions, they just need to have that little bit of downtime, that little bit of care, so that we can keep going.
Thanks for shedding light on that, especially in terms of how our emotions need some kind of distraction as well. And I'm sure our listeners would definitely relate to what you said just now. You talk about nervous system support. How does understanding our nervous system help in, regulating our emotions and staying grounded? This is specifically to all the mothers.
Mhm. So, first, I just want to share a smidge about nervous system, because it is something that is always on. It is always scanning. It's that sense that you have when you walk into a room and maybe you feel calm immediately. Maybe you're walking into a room and you feel activated, you feel nervous, you feel heavy, whatever it is, that is your nervous system scanning and letting your body know, is this a what it is perceiving as safe situation, or a situation where you need to be a little bit more guarded. Okay. So I just want to share that a little bit. That's what I'm speaking to here. And our nervous system, it's operates as a wave. We have highs and lows, right? Just like our emotions. And it is so important to be aware of what's going on with us, so that um, we can just observe when we're going into that fight or flight mode, when we're always operating at that intense level. And then if we do that for too long, right, we may crash, right? So if we can become aware of our emotions and this nervous system and partner with it and care for it, then we can move through our day in that more level headed, more grounded state, where we can make those decisions that are in alignment with what we believe, what we want for us, for our family, for our schedule, whatever it is. instead of just constantly saying, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I'll figure it out. I know I can do it. I'll figure it out. I have to do it. Right? When we can use our nervous system to help us and say, ooh, actually, today I'm on level 10 out of 10, and maybe I need to say no to something, right? Or else I may crash.
Yeah. And I think it totally makes sense now why certain moments feel so overwhelming. And I think it's not just mental, it's psychological as well. And this kind of awareness that you spoke about, it feels like a secret superpower, which all mothers should be taught early on, I would say. Uh, how does motherhood sometimes challenge a woman's self worth, and what's the mindset shift helps women to reclaim that confidence?
So, self worth. Oh my goodness. That little two words, I'm going to try my best to stay right here. We cannot do anything to earn more self worth. That from the moment we were born, we are, as I said earlier, 100% worthy, 100% valuable, and 100% complete. There's nothing we can do to have more worth and more value because we have the ability to just love the person we were created to be. And I say this, and also I tell you, right? I understand completely this idea, this trying to climb up the mountain to do more and to be better and to have a greater impact. And I want to share with you there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve, right? But doing that with knowing, right, you are already worthy. And if you don't believe me, I would love to challenge you to do a short exercise that can be absolutely life changing. And it goes like this. I want you to reach out to 5 people in your personal life and 5 people in your professional life and just ask them, right? I'm not looking for a compliment right now. I would love to hear what you perceive my strengths are, right? And by getting this feedback from people,
Mm-hmm.
it will be so obvious to you how amazing and worthy and valuable you already are.
Thanks for putting that perspective. And I know you spoke about this exercise. Uh, have you had people who actually said how, if they had implemented this exercise, how they felt about it? Have you heard any feedback on that?
I have done this myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I have invited my clients, my friends, my um, professional partners to do the same because when we can see so clearly, right, how other people perceive our strengths,
Mm-hmm.
we can lean into them so much more with so much more confidence, right? We already know people are experiencing this within us. And I will tell you, everything people hear back is things they hold true, but they often question. Am I really a good listener? I think I am, but I'm not really sure. I could probably get better at it. But when you hear people telling you, you are a fabulous listener, I never wonder if you're actually considering your next words or focusing on mine. Right. And then you can lean into that. And as a parent, as a person, I am a good listener. I'm going to show up here and I'm going to do that. And I know this is going to be my superpower to help someone else. It is an absolutely beautiful gift.
Thanks for sharing what you heard from people when they actually implemented this. And I hope the mothers listening out there, they would definitely want to pick this up and experiment it. Uh, Now, if I may ask you, motherhood is not always neat. Uh, I think it's messy, It's unpredictable. What do you have to say to women out there listening to this episode on how do they embrace the mess without losing their minds?
I love how you say that. Embrace the mess without losing your mind. First, I want to give you compassion. No one was given a guidebook, a step-by-step instruction. You have never been a parent of this person at this age ever in your life. So I want to give you compassion for trying your best, and I want to give them compassion for being the person that they are, right? And yes, it is messy. And I'm going to keep circling back to taking care of yourself, building that resilience, the little things, giving yourself water, giving yourself nutritious foods, right? Taking care of your mind and your body will absolutely help the mess feel a little bit more organized. It will help the mess be just another part of the routine. It won't feel like something impossible ahead of you. It will feel more like a challenge.
So, in short, you're suggesting that make yourself priority as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Um, what's your message to any mom listening right now who feels like she's just surviving and not thriving? And where can she actually start begin to find herself again?
So, my philosophy, if you may have picked up, is right strong mom, strong family. If you feel like you're just barely surviving,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I want you to do is help yourself. Strong mom, strong family. Start right here. I wanted to go very back to the basics, all of the things you know, right? It's the food, it's the movement, it's the water, it's sleep, right? Take care of yourself first.
Back to
And
basics, I would say.
then, yeah,
Yeah. Uh, thanks for putting it so simple, and it may or may not be feasible for everyone, but definitely giving it a try and at least taking that first step, I think that's the beginning for it. Now, I really want to shift our conversation towards single moms. Definitely, when you have a partner, or when you have a father for the kid who is helping with the parenting, it's slightly different. How about single mom? If you have to give your suggestion for that, how do you carve out time or space just for you as a single mom?
and it's going to depend on every mom and their kids' age and all of those types of things. But what can share that would be helpful for everyone, right? Give yourself grace, right? Maybe you're a person that doesn't want their kids in front of a screen or TV, whatever it may be, but you
Hmm.
haven't had alone time. You haven't had time to breathe. You haven't had anyone not saying mom, mom, mom on repeat, right? Give yourself grace and make sure your child is safe and in a place that, of course, they can't hurt themselves, but give yourself that 3 to 5 minutes to just be you with no expectations, no pressure, right? Just be you. Give yourself that gasp of fresh air to just keep going. Maybe it's before you get out of bed. Maybe if you have a little one, you're rocking them, but you're focused on you right now, right? Maybe it's before you get out of the car, before you go into the next space. Just take a couple of breaths. There's something called 478 breathing that will just bring calm to your body and remind you that you matter too.
I hope all the single moms listening right now, this is very helpful, and you just try to implement what Meg has called out just now. Now, what are some small rituals or habits that can keep single moms stay emotionally nourished?
Yeah. My my first question would be, what feels good for them, right?
Mhm.
Emotionally nourished. That can mean so many things to so many different people, and it will depend on where you feel like those gaps are. Do you feel like you need to be loved in a different way? Do you feel like you need to be supported in a different way? And then my challenge to everyone is, how can you do that for yourself? That is where the most power lies, is this internal love and care and compassion, right? Even those that do have a partner, it's often lacking there, right? Because we don't even know what our own needs are. We want other people to fill them, but we don't know how they should get filled, right? So bringing that stillness to ourself and saying, gosh, I really need a compliment today. I really need to laugh today. I really just need a hug today, right? And just figuring out what it is you particularly need and finding it, right? Maybe it's a pet, maybe it's a child, maybe it's someone in your neighborhood, at work, who knows what it is, right? If you just need a little bit of care and can say to someone, hey, I need a laugh, tell me a story. Maybe there isn't a person and you're going on Google, show me something funny, right? Find it for yourself. You matter. You have so much power.
That's so empowering to even hear that you're important, you're unique. So thanks for shedding light on that. Uh, what's one thing about child or the journey that gives every mother hope every single day?
Oh, the journey. Um, you think about hope, right? As a parent, what do you want for them? What is in their best interest? That is actually in your power, right? And sometimes is so much that is not, right? But sometimes seeing their hope is what, just observing in them, what's lighting them up. What do I think their passions are? Bring a little bit of curiosity in there, a little bit of fun. I wonder, what would it be like if they went in this situation, because they have this little bit of fire in them about it, right? And there can just be so much our brains can do to predict the future, knowing that we have no idea what it's going to be,
Yeah,
right? But it can be so much fun to watch it unfold.
absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. Now, if you can help our audience to understand that, how single moms can celebrate their wins, even if it is small, even if they are quiet ones.
Yes, celebration is one of my very favorite things. And I want to say, wins don't have to be huge, right? Sometimes the wins are so tiny, but they're so worth celebrating, right? And I think just giving yourself permission to love those small wins, right? Maybe maybe it's something as simple as they brushed their teeth on their own today. They found both of their shoes today, right? These are wins. Right.
Yeah,
So are the wins when they make the sports team or they get the good grades or whatever that is, right? Those are wins too. But we cheat ourselves if we don't celebrate the small ones along the way. And we don't need to have parades and parties and fireworks for the small ones. Sometimes it's just owning them. Hey, I saw you do this. Awesome job.
yeah. So very well said that, no, it doesn't have to be very grand. Even the small wins, that absolutely helps mothers. Uh, what do you want other single moms listening to this know, that you're not alone?
I mean, just that. You are not alone. You have the relationship with yourself is the most important. And reaching out, right? Finding your community, finding your network, even if it's just one other person, even if it's an online group, whatever it is, and having a place to voice who you are and explore who you are, and um, decide if you like or don't like something. It is just so important. But also the journey of motherhood has so many highs and lows, and everyone's is so different, right? That's part of the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, you're suggesting that they would definitely need to find their tribe, find the group. In your suggestion.
Community is always important and helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. However, if you are an introvert and prefer to be to yourself, that's okay too. But establishing that strong and loving relationship with yourself first is so important so you can show up to be the parent that you want to be.
Absolutely. Meg, before we officially wrap up, I have got a little something for you. It's time for some fun concepts in our conversation, nothing too serious. Just a few, uh, you know, light-hearted questions to end things on a playful note.
Okay.
Okay? You got to be quick, not much of thinking. Just say what comes to your mind when you hear this thing. Okay? Uh, what's one chore you would happily outsource forever?
Oh, the dishes for sure.
Okay. If you had an extra hour in your day with no responsibilities, how would you spend it?
Hiking.
Great. The funniest parenting advice you have ever received in your life.
Gosh. Um, I feel like it's just buckle up. What does that really mean?
Okay. What's something you believed before becoming a parent that makes you laugh now?
It would be so simple.
Okay. All right, Meg. Last one before I let you go. If motherhood came with a warning label, what would be yours?
I would say safety first, safety for yourself and safety for your family.
Wow. You were on fire. You were witty, and your responses were quite relatable. Thanks for playing along. And with that, on that note, we are wrapping up today's conversation. Meg, thank you so much for being here and showing up with such, I would say, honesty and compassion are the right words I would definitely want to call out. And I know so many listeners are definitely going to walk out from this discussion feeling seen, understood, and little less alone in the chaos of motherhood. So thank you so much for your time and for being here on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for our listeners, if something in this episode resonated with you and if you found a little light or even just a small moment of reflection, do me a favor. Share this with another mom who might need to hear it today. And if you're enjoying these conversations, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. I truly love hearing from you. Until next time, as Meg said, give yourself a little grace and remember you're doing better than you think. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.